Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to read civil rights leaders, and in this book we have leaders that have stood up for their belief, their strong belief in a certain topic, and we're going to be reading about them for the next 2 weeks. And there are there's 8 chapters. So we're going to start with Susan B. Anthony, and so I have sent you these pages so that you can read on your own, but I thought I'd read with you. Okay, so Susan B. Anthony was born in Massachusetts in 1820. Her parents taught her that everyone deserves equal rights, black and white, male and female. It made her sad that in life this did not always happen. One thing that made her especially sad was slavery. She wanted enslaved people to be set free. Susan also wanted all adults, not just white men, to be allowed to vote for political leaders. Let's see, there she is. When African American men were given the right to vote in 1870, Susan was pleased, but she was still unhappy that women could not vote. And why couldn't women vote? One reason was that some people at the time believed that women would vote the way their fathers or husbands told them to. Susan decided she would vote anyway. On Election Day in November 1872, Susan and 15 other women voted in the election of the President of the United States. This was against the law, and they were arrested, but only Susan had to stand trial. Wow, that's pretty brave, wouldn't you say? When the time came for her trial, Susan's lawyer argued that she had the right to vote because of a recent change or amendment to the Constitution of the United States. The amendment said that anyone born in the country was a citizen of the United States and had all the rights of a citizen. Susan's lawyer argued that as a citizen of the United States, Susan had a right to vote. And there she is. Or at least this is it looks like this is an advertisement showing votes for women. And in this little tiny little paper there, it says justice, equality. It looks like it tells, that's pretty interesting. You'll have to read it. Why women want to vote. It gives the reasons why women want to vote. So make sure you look at that. At the trial, Susan was not allowed to speak in her own defense. The judge decided that Susan was guilty because she was a woman. He said she was not allowed to vote. Then he ordered her to pay a large fine. That was her punishment. That's not nice. But the judge could not stop Susan and many others from protesting and speaking out about the right of all women to vote. As the years went by, more and more people believed in this cause too. So if you look at this picture, it says, she's holding up a banner, and it says, to ask freedom for women is not a crime. Suffrage prisoners should not be treated as criminals. So these ladies were holding up signs, and this is called picketing. When you hold up posters or signs or banners that have words on them that are, fighting for a cause. And in this case, they're fighting for the right to vote. Susan B. Anthony died in 1906 before women were allowed to vote. But her dream did not die with her. In 1920, a change of the Constitution finally gave women the right to vote. Today we remember Susan B. Anthony. Today, women not only vote, but many become police and military officials, mayors of cities, governors of states, judges, and senators. So because of her fight, not a physical fight, but a fight using her words and her courage, it gave other women the chance to vote and also become leaders in the United States. So now we have women police, women military officials, women mayors of cities and governors and states and judges and senators. Now, it takes a person of courage. It takes a person that is willing to stand up for what they believe in, and knowing that there's a risk that they may be put in jail or given a fine, like Susan B. Anthony had to pay a large fine. What does that mean? It means she had to pay a lot of money. Like if you are issued a fine or a ticket or a citation, those are all the same words. When you're driving too fast, your mother or father are driving too fast, then they have to pay a large fine. That means that you have to pay money. And so that's what she had to do. She had to pay money for speaking out. And she was found guilty for that. And but she didn't care. She didn't care. She knew that what she was fighting for was a good reason and an important reason to fight. And so because of that, now, today, Mrs. Hinton can vote. Because of that, your moms can vote for president or for any state official. And we can have the right to run for office if we want to. And all of that was because of a courageous woman named Susan B. Anthony choosing not to stand back or sit and let things happen that she knew needed to change. So it's difficult to believe a certain way and hold that back when you see that someone is being treated wrong, or if there's, for instance, if we see that people do not have Bibles in China, and for us to just sit back and not do anything about it, then those people don't get to know about Jesus. Well, there are missionaries that have chosen to stand up and take the risk, knowing that they could be put in jail or even killed. They take a risk, and they take in Bibles so that people in China can have Jesus Christ, and they find ways to go underground, which means that they meet in houses, and they have to do it in secret. And that's hard for us to understand, because we live in the United States, a nation of freedom and a freedom of religion. But there are other countries that don't allow you to believe the way you want to believe. They don't give you those freedoms. And so there are missionaries that we can say are people that stand up for their rights, and then take risks and go into other places to go and share the Word of God to others, and not necessarily in our nation, but in our world. And so those kind of people are special to us, because not everyone will take those risks. Another person that we remember that took a risk was Martin Luther King Jr. He took a risk and stood up and for people that were not treated equally people of color, which were black people, and he knew that it was not right. And we're going to talk about him later on, but he's another person that stood up for what he believed in, and he took a risk. And so I'm going to let you read about Susan B. Anthony on your own, and think about 3 or however many characteristics or facts that you want to write about her. But I'm going to say, at least have 3, and things that you have learned about Susan B. Anthony, and I'll help you with one, and that is that she had courage, and she was brave, and she fought for women's right to vote. And did she live to see that happen? No, but her legacy is what she left behind, and that was her fight for women. And now today, women have many rights. We are now treated equally, and so that's a testament to her, and to us. We can be encouraged by her that in a time that she was not equal in many people's eyes, that didn't stop her. She stood up for her rights and for other people's rights, African Americans and women. And that's it. That's all I have for you today on history. So make sure that you look into her and see what else you can dig up about Susan B. Anthony. All right. Bye-bye.